And we have a question from the audience. So let me just bring it. It's a long question, but William asked, what do you think about puppet show video performance that are meant for a young adult to adult audience? Or do you believe that all puppet shows are for children? That's an interesting question.
Yeah, it's deep. No, they're not just for children. I mean, I worked on Team America, World Police, the movie
Yeah,
with the marionettes, right? And that was not for children.
it's true.
And a lot of people didn't, they took their kids to it and then walked out of the theater because it was just too abrasive, right? So yeah, that's and Jim Henson had the same struggle.
Hmm.
His Muppets were on Ed Sullivan and variety shows like that where it was for adults. But I think because of Sesame Street, it was kind of thought that they're young puppets are for young people, that sort of thing. And I think some parents and some adults don't want to admit that they like puppets, but they do. Can't help it. So yeah, that's a good question. I like the fact that puppets can entertain. In fact, I started Puppet Greetings was a e-card site. We tried to get that going, and we spent 5 years trying to make it work, and it was just nobody wants to pay for it. So, but we had a lot of fun creating birthday card greetings that you could send out. But this was during the time when it was dial-up, and so all you got was the little buffering. You had to wait, and people it's like buffering, kind of like I'm doing right now, buffering.
Yeah.
So yeah,
The process, it's so interesting to see that you give it a try, and you base your career on both. But I think every puppeteers have to educate adult towards their art form, like educate that it's not just
for
this
kids, yeah,
cliche, or and that's interesting.
yeah.
I want to hear you also, as you are a teacher. Maybe you have your own definition of a puppet, like in your own word, how you verbalize what is a
Right.
puppet.
Well, I usually tell people I'm training is like it's not just a puppet; it's a character,
Hmm.
and the character goes deep. It's the backstory, the emotional feeling, the everything that goes into it. Um, and the puppets sometimes can be limiting because the mouth shape might be weird and it's like your finger doesn't fit right, or there's a stitch in the back of the neck that comes loose and stuffing comes out. It's like, well, those things you have to deal with. Or like I was performing a live puppet show, and the left arm, I was working the rod with the left arm, and it came off of the shoulder. And so I just had the arm on the rod, and so I had the character chase it off. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah,
Funny anecdote.
definition of did that answer the question? Not really, but what is a puppet? I mean, it's really a character. It's a
A
character,
character.
and it doesn't matter if it's paper mache or a marionette or a shadow or you know what I mean? It's a character. So that's the thing you got to drive for if you're learning puppetry. And a lot of people I tell too, it's like, if you were going to learn how to play the saxophone, you would pick up the saxophone, maybe make some noise, right? But the goal is to make music. So
Yeah.
there's a long time of practice and rehearsal and acclimation. So I think that kind of helps people understand that it's not something you can just pick up right away. You really got to work at it.
Yeah, to know the rules and the mathematic of it and the technical aspect. That's so true.
Right.
And let me ask you if you feel that puppetry is an ascension, is getting more popular or not.
Well, it kind of goes in cycles. I think it goes in cycles. For example, in film and television, the puppets got replaced by CGI a lot of times, but
Hmm.
now it's kind of coming back. I think filmmakers realize that the actual puppet, like the baby Mandalorian, the baby Yoda,
Yeah.
uh, that's a puppet, and I think there's a richness to that because if it was just CG, it would be like, yeah. And um, I have another train of thought that just left the station.
It's the buffering.
Yeah, the buffering. No, I think it goes in cycles. Like I said, there was a show on Fox. I think it was called Greg the Bunny, and it was in prime time, and it was a funny show as it took place behind the scenes of a kid's show, but the puppets were adult, right? And it was in prime time, and they did one season. And I remember talking to a producer friend of mine who said, yeah, that's going to kill puppetry in prime time for a while, right? So don't try to pitch any shows that are going to go to prime time, you know? So, but it comes back, you know, that's the thing. And after this pandemic, I think there's going to be a resurgence of puppets that, you know, for example, there's friends of mine have produced a show in Canada. It's called The Barbarian and the Troll for Nickelodeon. And if you've seen the trailer for it, it looks great. It's like a Game of Thrones for kids, right? And so I think that's going to be a huge, like, paving the way for the rest of us to kind of get puppet stuff out there, you know?
Yes.
So, yeah, I think we're on an upswing. I mean, I do see, like, on Instagram, a lot of people pulling out puppets out of their closet and doing stuff that's just, you know, okay, you know, all right, at least you're doing something, but
yeah,
you know, it's like maybe work a little harder, raise the bar a little bit, maybe. You know?
Yeah, they have like this crave for communicate or creating,
Right.
and for sure we have to get some technicality going on also.
Yeah.
That's
and
true.
we live in a time where we can do it now, and we can share and self-publish our own stuff, which a lot of people are going, oh, well, hey, look at me, you know, I can do this.